In my previous video, A Secret to More Successful North American Fighter Kite Flying, I talked about the importance of matching the kite stiffness of the sail stiffness, to the wind speed that you're flying the kite in. Now, that is truly an important factor and often is completely ignored. But now that you know, you can take advantage of it and quicken the learning process of flying North American fighter kite. Now, the wind you're flying the kite in, wherever you are, at the beach, at the park, your backyard, doesn't matter, wherever it is, that wind speed is only one source of wind. There are actually two. The natural wind that is at the place you're flying, and the other is you. Your contribution to the amount of pressure on the sail, contributed by how you handle or maneuver the flying line that the kite's attached to. Now, the kite's attached at the end of the flying line, obviously. So if you pull hard on the flying line, you are going to increase the pressure on the sail. Now, when you do that, the kite will do something quite different in its behavior than if you just let it be with the existing wind and you don't apply any pressure from the kite flying line. Now, the flying line, when you retrieve it, you're pulling it in, hand over hand, which we'll talk about in a different video in more detail. That activity is what allows you to communicate with the kite. Now, you can either put pressure on the kite sail by retrieving flying line, or you can allow the kite to be pushed away from you by the existing wind at your flying location, and then it will just pull the line with it as it goes, because you're not going to resist it at all. If you resist it, that means you're going to apply a little bit of extra pressure to the sail of the kite, and it will behave a little differently when you do that. And it's the learning, you're learning the kite's behavior when specific amounts of wind pressure are on the sail. And to help you determine what's what, the kite communicates an awful lot to the flyer through the flying line. The flying line sends signals. You can feel the kite functioning at the end of the line, no matter how long the line is, doesn't really matter. And it's this communication through your fingers, through your hands, along with your visual contact with the kite, seeing what it's doing, that allows such precise control using only one flying line. And it is what really sets a fighter kite apart from any other kind of kite, is the ability to communicate with it through the flying line in a way that the kite understands. It understands one language and only one language, and that is how much wind pressure is on the sail of the kite at any given moment. It is the timing, your timing, the amount of pressure or lack of pressure that allows the kite to maneuver in specific ways. So you are the one controlling the kite because you have control over the second source of wind. The source of wind that actually does the controlling of the kite. Now, for me, fighter kite flying, because of the intercommunication it provides, is really a meditative experience for me, and has been for years. The combination that is required to fly one is focusing your attention on primarily the nose of the kite at all times, and paying attention to how the flying line feels, what signals it's actually sending you. And when you are that focused on something, then there are no options for your brain to think of anything else. It is a total engrossing experience to actually fly a North American fighter kite. And that's one of the reasons that the people who fly them, is because it is exceedingly enjoyable and has other benefits that each flyer finds on their own. But the fact that the flying line is such an important part of the experience, both for controlling the kite and for you being able to feel the kite and what it's doing. You can feel so much. It's really remarkable. You don't, if you've never flown one, you probably would say, well, that's probably just a bunch of BS. Well, it's not. I can tell you firsthand it's not. And we'll get into that in another video. And we'll also get into the flying line reel, how to position it, and how to launch a kite easily by yourself.